I'm sitting in a living room that's half a gym, half a home office, and I'm about to tell you why I think the BenQ TK710STi deserves a careful look before you click Add to Cart. I'm not here to hype a spec sheet, I'm here to walk through the moments that actually matter when you're trying to turn a regular space into a real home theater or gaming zone. If you're wondering whether a short-throw laser projector can replace a traditional TV without sacrificing the things you care about, brightness, lag, and overall cost, this review is for you. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First, let's talk about the hesitation most people feel. You've probably seen a bunch of glossy ads promising true 4K and instant cinema, but you also know that a lot of projectors end up needing a dark room, a huge wall, and an endless string of cables. The TK710STi tries to solve those problems with a short-throw lens, a laser light source, and a built-in Android TV dongle. But the real question is whether those claims hold up when you actually set the thing up in a typical living space that isn't a dedicated media room. The short-throw aspect is the first practical benefit you'll notice. Because the projector can sit just a few feet away from the screen and still fill a 100-inch image, you don't need to clear a whole wall or invest in a dedicated mounting rig. I tested it in a 12-foot room with a 169 screen you could hang on a simple drywall panel. The image filled the screen perfectly without the keystone distortion you often see when you try to push a standard throw projector too close. That means you can set it up in a basement that has a low ceiling or in a loft apartment where the ceiling is under 8 feet. For anyone who doesn't want to rewire a room just to get a big screen, that's a genuine win. Brightness is where many home theater projectors choke, especially when the ambient light can't be fully controlled. The TK710STi is rated at a very high lumen level, and in my tests the picture stayed vivid even with a window blind halfway down and a floor lamp on. The colors didn't wash out, and the blacks held decent contrast. If you're planning to watch movies mainly after sunset, you'll be fine, but the projector does still benefit from a dimmed environment. The practical takeaway: you can use it in a well-lit living room for a family movie night, but you'll still get a noticeably brighter picture on a darkened screen versus a fully lit one. If you have a bright, sun-filled space and you can't control the light at all, you might find a TV a safer bet. Now, let's get into the gaming side because BenQ really pushed the lag-free angle. The specifications claim a 4.2 milliseconds input lag at 1080p 240 Hz, and that translates into a surprisingly smooth experience for fast-paced shooters. I hooked my PlayStation 5 and a high-refresh PC monitor up to the projector, switched to the 1080p mode, the 4K mode drops the refresh rate, and played a couple of competitive titles. The response felt almost indistinguishable from a high-end TV, moving the controller didn't feel delayed, and the frame rate stayed stable. The downside is that you have to sacrifice the native 4K resolution when you push for those high refresh rates, which is a trade-off that might bother a console-only gamer who wants both 4K and high frame rates. If you're okay with 1080p for gaming and value the immersive size, the projector delivers a solid experience. One of the less talked about features is the built-in 5W speaker and the HDMI eARC port that claims Dolby Atmos support. In reality, a 5W speaker is more of a handy fallback than a primary audio solution. I ran a short clip of a movie with a full soundtrack, and the audio was clear enough to hear dialogue, but the bass and overall immersion felt thin compared to a dedicated soundbar. The real strength is the eARC connection, which lets you plug a proper home theater receiver or soundbar and get the full Atmos stream. So, think of the built-in speaker as a convenience for quick setups. You'll likely want an external audio system for serious movie nights. Laser longevity is another selling point. BenQ says the laser can last up to 20,000 hours, which translates into years of use without the typical bulb replacements you see with older DLP projectors. In practice, that means you won't be budgeting for a costly laser module swap anytime soon. The downside is the initial price. Laser projectors still sit higher than lamp-based models, and the TK710STi's bundle price reflects that. However, when you factor in the lifespan, the cost per hour of use becomes competitive, especially if you plan to use it for several hours each week. Who should buy this unit? If you have a mid-size room, want a big image without installing a ceiling mount, and you enjoy both movies and competitive gaming, the TK710STi ticks most boxes. It's especially suited for families.